So I just got a new Ethiopia from a company that I've never dealt with called Hacea in Orange County. These guys are supposed to be great, and I just got these beans in, and I did 2 roasts last week, and I wasn't really happy with how they came out in terms of the profile, but they tasted really good. But I'm still gonna try to tighten up these profiles, and so I'm gonna take you to the screen and show you exactly what I'm doing and exactly how I'm gonna improve it. If you look up at the top here, it says the Ethiopia West RC Worka. You try to pronounce it. It's a natural coffee. You see 502 and 503. I'm trying to bring both profiles up at the same exact time. If you look at 502, the background that's on 502, that's the lighter color, that is from a previous Ethiopia that I had been working with that I was very familiar with, and I dialed that one in. This Ethiopia I was struggling with because I couldn't quite control it, and as you can see, there was a big uptick in the heat here, and then I had a crash right after, just after first crash. So I attempted after 502 to in 503 adjust that, and you can see now because 502's background is right here at the bottom, just in the 503. You can see 502's background there, and you can see how I tightened it up a little bit, but I still had a little bit of an uptick and a crash. So this next attempt, I'm going to show you guys. What I'm going to do here is as I zoom in a little bit, you can see how I dropped after, let's see, about like the 8-minute mark, I dropped down to about 2.5, and that helped out a little bit. I think what I'm going to drop in from after dropping from a 3 kPa gas, I'm going to go to a 2 gas. And I'm going to make adjustments after that and see how that improves this line. I'm going to keep everything else the same. We always try to make one adjustment, do one thing, if maybe 2. But really, one thing is the best way to make an adjustment in order to really get a good idea of what had the impact. You do too many things, you don't know what made the impact, okay? All right, so let's do this. Here's now I've got it set up. I'm gonna set my gas. I've got my gas. I had it hovering about 440. I'm gonna turn it up to 6.5 kPa because that's where I'm gonna jump in at after the 1-minute soak. My air is set at 50. My drum speed is set at 75. I've got my beans weighed out on my 2-kilo roaster. My beans are weighed out at 3.6, which is going to yield me 3 pounds of coffee to sell. I'm going to cut the heat, and I'm going to let my Artisan drop. As it starts to drop, I can hit start on Artisan. Bingo. So we're starting to record, and let me grab my beans. Got them set right here. So we're about 5 degrees away from dropping these into the hopper. Don't drop these into the hopper too early because you don't want them to sit on this little plate here. Otherwise, your beans are gonna burn up in there. We're gonna drop this in at 355. Roughly, my air is set, like I said, for 50, so I'm just gonna record that here real quick. So I've got my finger on the timer, and here we go. So I hit the timer right as I open up that gate to drop the beans into the drum. Artisan is great because Artisan basically immediately records the charge. People have asked me, guys, by the way, does Artisan basically do all of this, like all the physical adjustments? It does not. You can make adjustments on your roaster and you will have to manually do it on Artisan. Yoshan does have an automated roaster. It's much more expensive. All right, I'm gonna hit my heat. I'm at 1 minute. And I'm going to record the 6.5 kPa. Yoshan does have a roaster that does have all fully automated. You just have to basically load it in the hopper, and then it will literally do everything else. This one's $3,500. You can get it delivered to your house for less than $5,000. This is the 2-kilo. That one, I want to say they only have it in a 1.5 and then like a 6-kilo that has the automated. And it gets up there. It's like $7,000 or $8,000, I think, to start. It's quite expensive, but the whole thing is automated. All right, so let's take a look here at the graph and see what's going on. It's matching up with what happened last time, which is good. These lines are a little bit, now again, remember, we're roasting on a different day. It's a little bit humid here. Colin, who is running camera for me, will attest. It's probably a little chilly for a California day. Colin was not here when I roasted this Ethiopia the first time, taking a shot at it. It's a little bit cooler today, so there might be some adjustments. All right, so I'm going to jump from my 50 air to my 60 air in just about at the 2 minute and 50 second mark, roughly, a 2 minute 40 second mark, which is coming up. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to try to, like I said, I'm going to keep everything the same. So I made that adjustment. I'm going to keep everything exactly the same, except right after the 3 kPa gas adjustment, I'm going to drop it from 2.5 to 2, and I'm going to see if I can go at where it's dropped to 2 kPa, I'm going to drop it to 1.5. That's low. That's really low, guys. For this roaster, I'm basically cutting the heat to a very low simmer at the end. So I'm going to see how that basically pans out for me. It might be a total train wreck. I don't know. This is why this is kind of like all fine tuning. All right, guys, I want to take a little break here to talk about this roaster. If you are just starting out and maybe interested in purchasing one of these for yourself, I can get you a discount on them. Yoshan reached out to me. They love the fact that I'm making these videos, and they offered me a discount to anybody that reaches out to me. I can get you a discount. I can even get you some free stuff. All you have to do is email me, rob@ocdcoffeeclub.com. Or you'll see my email in the description below. But I can hook you up with the sales rep that I work with specifically, and they can take care of you and make sure that you get a really good deal on these roasters. I was gonna buy a Diedrich or a Probot or any one of those like really kind of like, you know, expensive ones, but I just was not at that place financially. So I'm super happy with this purchase. So if you guys are interested in doing this and maybe, you know, stepping up your roasting game from where you are, then reach out to me. I'm happy to help you out. So I'm going to make my first gas adjustment after doing the soak, and I'm going to drop it to 5.5. Okay, 5.5. Bingo. If you guys want to taste some of these beans and you're watching this video and it just came out, those beans are going to be fresh within the last week or two. So if you want to try, go to ocdcoffeeclub.com and you can order my beans and taste exactly what I'm doing. And you might even be able to be tasting the exact batch that I posted. So I just made an adjustment to the 5 kPa. Colin also has a coffee company that's called There Will Be Coffee. You can check them out on Instagram. They're awesome. They're like a mix of skateboarders and photography and you know, and they have their coffee brand. So definitely check those guys out. They do some really cool stuff and they do events. They're much more out there than I am. So and there's a bunch of you. How many are there's like there's three partners. That's right. Yeah. Where I just fly solo. Everything is on par with what we were looking at. Everybody's asking me to show them and help them get set up on Artisan. What I'm going to do is I have another computer, a more up-to-date computer. This is an old-ass computer, 2012, I think. This computer is 13 years old. It's a workhorse. I've had it forever. I have a newer one that's an Air. I'm going to actually try to set it up on Artisan, using Artisan on this roaster as if I was a new person. I'm going to make that video for you guys. All right, so we're coming up on 4.5. I'm taking a look here. I'm going to call dry end right there. Okay, so it's probably even later, and I'm going to switch it to 4.5 right here. Boom. And my next air adjustment is bringing it up to 70. There was a guy that's messaged me in the comments, also sent me an email, and made mention that this fan doesn't do much after, I think it was like 40 or 50. It doesn't really make a difference. I don't know if his is different than mine, or if maybe I notice a difference when I'm making adjustments from 50, 60, and 70. I hear a hum in this when I'm making these adjustments. So I don't know if that's the speed of the fan. I don't know if it's the motor making a weird hum. But he might be right, and I did message Yoshan about that, and they're looking into it, and we're going to see if there's a way we can make improvements to their fans. All right, make an adjustment to a 4 here. Remember, it was at the 3. After the 3, we were going to try to make this drop off. Everything else is lining up, so this is good. My graph was going up here. If it wasn't lining up with the previous one, and I'm going to make these adjustments, it would be kind of like a futile attempt because it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same kind of circumstances. I'd just be making adjustments that wouldn't necessarily have the impact I'm looking to have. But this is good because everything else is exactly the same. So this is what you want to see. Instead of going 2.5 here, I'm going to the 2. I'm going to see if that kind of stops this ROR from leveling off. It might not, but this is what I'm doing. Okay, so here we go. Drop to a 2, right there where I normally drop to the 2.5, and then I'm going to go to a 1.5 right where I hit that 2 last time, the 2 kPa. And we'll see if that drops me in under and flattens this out, and then I've cracked the code. Then all I got to do is taste my coffee. If it tastes good, my ROR looks good, then I just lock that in, and guys, and I've got another 45 pounds of this coffee that I'm gonna basically sell out. Now I did sell that coffee last week, the ones that I wasn't super happy with the looks of the ROR and the profile. However, all of my customers and myself actually enjoyed it. Just trying to dial it in, make it even better. Okay, here we go. 1.5. All right. 1.5. Boom. Oh, there it is. It's dropping under. Colin, you seeing this? Yep. See how it's going under where it was before? Oh, no, it's popping up. Come on, stay down there. Let's see. All right, it's already doing a little bit better. It is flattening out though. I'm gonna give it a, let's see, let's let it play out. I start to panic, and then you'll do the same thing. You'll start to panic and you'll be like, oh shit, I gotta start messing with it. But this was my game plan was 1.5 and see how it rides out. First crack should be about 7 degrees from now at 393. It's still in the better range, and I'm gonna drop now to the 1.2, because that's what I did last time. All right. Oh, it's jumping a little bit. Did bump up. So maybe I got to come in a little bit harder, and I'm going to go to the 80 here on the air because that's what I did last time. And I'm hearing first crack starting to kick in. It's a little bit better. It's not perfect. Okay, I can hear the first crack. It's light, but it's happening in there. But if you see, dry end was at 321 here, roughly about the same time frame. So 549 last time was my dry end, and 550 this time. But my first crack started 1 or 2 degrees later, but about 10 to 15 seconds later, which is good because I've stretched my Maillard. It helps me develop a little bit of the caramelization within the bean. This actually looks pretty good. Now, here's where it normally kind of has a crash, but maybe it won't, because that's what happened last time. Some beans just always crash. There's like those beans that no matter what you do, it just has the crash. But if we draw this line straight across, this looks a hell of a lot better, guys, than this one, which is the one that we had originally. Right? All right, so my adjustment is to the 90 air. I think I was doing that also last time. Whether or not it's from 80 to 90, it's really making much of a difference in terms of what the fan is capable of doing. I'm at 13% development. I'm gonna adjust down to, I can see, guys, I can see my air, which is right here. I can see it starting to climb. Oh, it's dropping again. Okay. I think my air is giving me a little bit of an indicator. I'm going to drop down to a 1 here on my kPa. And I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this one to 18%. I'm going to turn my fans on, turn my mixer on, be prepped, and I'm going. Okay. But that looks good. That looks really nice. I'm learning the lesson from last time when I showed you the beans and I burned my hands. I literally did. It got under a ring and it was like cooking my ring, so my hand, I felt it the rest of the day. We'll just give that a moment. All right, so what you do after this, if you're working with the Artisan, is you're gonna You're gonna turn the timer off on the manual, and then you just reset it. That was at 12 minutes and 24 seconds. If I hit stop here, if I hit off, let's take a look at this. We got 18% development. That was what I said we were gonna aim for. 18.1 we got. 34 in the Maillard, 34.8 in the Maillard. And we definitely came under. Look, so is there room for improvement? Yes. But did I from the adjustments that I made, did something happen? Did it move in the right direction? Yes. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I've got a little more dialing in. So you won't be there for the dialing in. So let me tell you what I would plan on doing. So where I came in at the 1.5, I'd probably drop down to the 1.2. I might bring in, I'm noticing that when I turn my air up to 80, I'm getting a dip. So I'm gonna turn my air up to 80 earlier. So I'm gonna drive some more air in there, and maybe it'll level off. That's where it'll, you know, instead of it kind of leveling off, it'll bring my bean temp down just a little bit more. Generally, more air creates more convection, but in this case, it might drive out the moisture and actually let the bean temp drop a little bit. So that's what I'm gonna try next time. I'm gonna go instead of the 1.5, I'm gonna go to 1.2, and I'm gonna bring the fan, the air up to 80 earlier, right around the same time I did the 1.2. And I think that might make the difference. If you guys are interested in trying this coffee, check out ocdcoffeeclub.com, and you could buy coffee there. I'm terrible, guys, at updating the actual beans that are on the website. I'm more about doing this. I'm more about roasting and selling to people locally. I do sell to people online and ship it all over the country, but I honestly, they take what I give them. That's kind of my roasting. I don't roast for people specifically. I don't roast to a certain degree or certain roast temperature for anybody specifically. I roast what I have, and everybody that buys from me knows that they're getting what I roast, because I try to curate some really good beans. So if you want to try those, just say, you know, you'll have an opportunity to say, I want to try some Ethiopia, or I want to try Colombia, and then I'll message you, be like, great, I have that, or I don't have that. Do you want to wait until the next round when I have the Colombia? And you can wait, or you can choose to take what I've got, and I'll make some recommendations for you. So that's kind of how that works. All right, so let's look at these. Let's bring them up close, like light, just on the other side. How good does that look?
So good.
And
it smells good too.
We didn't get any scorching. We've got such consistency throughout. I'm super excited to taste these.